welcome to the Sigma Show, episode 128. I'm your host, Sigma. Just before I let you know who is joining me this week, real quick, we're going to go over what our topics will be for the week. First up, a lot of talk after the Oscar nominations went out about Barbie in particular, kind of getting a couple of notable snubs, maybe. Greta Gerwig as director did not get nominated as Best Director. Margot Robbie did not get nominated as Best Lead Actress. It did get other nominations, but we'll get into kind of the nitty gritty of that and kind of what our thoughts on maybe some of the politics of cinema going on there, if any. Following that, all anyone has been able to talk about all last week has been Palworld. It's a big deal, and weirdly enough, like, it's involved in several different conversations all at once. One of the big ones is whether or not Nintendo will take legal action against them. And after a lot of radio silence, the Pokemon Company did send out a response, but we'll talk about like maybe what that response says between the lines, perhaps. And other than that, we'll just catch you up on what we've been playing. But to talk with me about such topics, joining me today, Jamate.
What's up, gang? Good to see you.
As well as Yokina Cat.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome back, you guys. It's been a little while. Like, we were on a brief hiatus. We were back last week, but full steam ahead with shows and whatnot. And as we tend to do, we like to start with what we've been playing, watching, reading, listening to, whatever you've kind of been spending your time doing in that interim. I'd be interested to hear about it, to catch us all up. Anybody feel like going first?
Mine's pretty boring.
All right, well, based on that preface, we'll let Kat go first.
I'll open with the boring stuff.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Go talking about the exciting things. What have I been doing? I've been working. I was talking to KC before this stream started that I'm making a Dark Souls video, and been specifically based around Blighttown. And for anyone who has gone through Dark Souls knows that Blighttown is a nightmare. And I was filming for it today, and I've just spent the last like 5 hours dedicated in that one zone, and I want to die. And I've just been doing that
right.
the last 2 weeks because my time's been dedicated to the episode. But other than that, in my free time, I've been playing a little bit. I've got back into a little bit of World of Warcraft again because I'm such a sweaty nerd.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like, it's like that still has a strong pull for you, because I know you were like real big into it.
Somebody needs to just. I'll go on like a 6-month hiatus, and then a friend of mine will just have to like hint that they're thinking about playing it, and I'm like, oh, I'm in, and I'm like, I'm already grinding, and I'm like, I'm gonna be ahead so I can help you.
I've been on for an hour. Where are you? Like,
yeah, right. But it's been nice to go back. They've really, I don't want to say they've made it more casual. It's still difficult. There's still a grind there, but they've made it a lot more accessible to get caught back up. They're in like the last cycle of this expansion's life cycle, so they've made it a lot easier, which means a lot of my friends are wanting to come join and play for the first time, and that's always really nice to see, because as much as that game is a deep dark hole, it does hold a special place in my heart. So it's been really nice to jump back into that.
Nice. Lampy in chat says, no one tell Jay about Final Fantasy 14. Like, is that something you've dipped your toes in?
Oh, I've dipped my toes into that. I've played 250 hours of that game, and I've only just finished the story, because that game forces you to go through the story in a linear fashion, including mid-patch interim story between expansion.
Wow.
Like the filler stuff that they put in to just fill the gap, they force you to go through it in order, and it takes roughly around 250 hours.
Was it at least
the game has some terrible pacing.
Hours?
I have a video planned on it. It's and I'm gonna get a lot of shit for talking
yeah, that game is well loved. So
yeah. But hey, I'll try and put it forward in an argument that makes sense.
You're a brave man.
Don't agree,
I'll give you that.
Whatever. But yeah, I've been on my MMO kick. Finally started playing Spider-Man 2 on the PS5.
How's that?
Really enjoying my time with that, but I got about halfway through and was like, oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen with the story. And I just haven't gone back for weeks. I don't know why. I love it. I think it's great. But it just hasn't pulled me back. I guess it's because work's so crazy and I've been focusing on that.
Yeah, I mean,
lots of good games.
I don't want to sound like a hater. I know I sound like a hater, but like Sony has a formula with some of its
Right.
games. Like as fun as the mechanics of Spider-Man can be, it's something we've seen before. So like I
Yeah.
feel like that might be part of why you're not like you've done it before. You know what is coming for the rest of that experience. So you're not like dying to get back. It's not chomping at you.
Yeah, it's like
It's my
I
theory.
want to know what happens with the story because like it's interesting and like I'm not gonna say where I am because it's a spoiler. If somebody hasn't played it in chat, but I'm interested in the story and the gameplay is fun and it's it's serviceable. But like you said, it's a formula. There's nothing really new going on. So my brain's been pulled back to work and I can play World of Warcraft with my friends. So
Yeah, because
it's
that's brand new.
difficult
Yeah,
to go
because
back.
that has
Yeah.
all the newest and
Yeah.
latest mechanics.
Because like I'm a very social gamer,
Sure.
if that's the way you can put it. Like I
Me
use it
too.
as a way to like
Yeah.
socialize.
You're just
and
hanging out with your people.
yeah, if I'm given the chance to like play something with my friends or play a single player thing, 9 times out of 10 I will hang out with my friends. Even if it's a game I hate, like I have a whole bunch of hours in PUBG and I despise that game. Like I hate it, but it's all my friends were playing it at the time, so I've got a
Right.
whole bunch of hours in it. The social aspect is more important to me.
No, I'm a similar way, but you're better than me in that like I will not suffer a bad game just to hang out with my friends. Like I'll pull them into like we can play something better than this, guys. Like we don't have to do
I
this.
try. Well, on topic, all of my friends have been playing Palworld, and I refuse to pick that game
Well,
up.
there you go.
Yeah, yeah, but that's me.
Nice. How about you, Kat? What have you been playing? What you want to share with us?
So nothing has changed. The same old, same old. My friends actually, speaking of being social, the PlayStation chat that I'm usually in, we'll like play the same game together, and then sometimes we'll just be in there playing completely different games and just like talking.
That's always nice too.
But
Yeah,
I am a really bad creature of habit, but unfortunately, I really can't be a creature of habit anymore because Tekken 8 came out on Friday. So like no one's really playing Tekken 7 anymore.
Aw. You are planning to make the jump, right?
I am. So yeah, I am. People have been texting me and like messaging me, "Did you get Tekken 8? Did you get Tekken 8?" But I don't have a PS5, so
Aw.
it sucks because like that's like the Sigma, like that's like the only game I really ever play is Tekken. Trying to I guess perfect my craft. So the fact that there are no more like I mean I could still play ranked. Like it's just like yesterday I logged on and I waited like 10 minutes for someone to match with someone in ranked. So that kind of just tells you like how people are kind of transitioning to Tekken 8, which I understand because they're no longer there's no longer like official tournaments for Tekken 7. I believe the last one was I want to say about a month ago, like the closeout like tournament kind of thing. So I'm playing Tekken, but not with as much, I guess, enthusiasm.
Oh, like it sounds like you're getting like sunset on.
No, it's just, I don't have a PS5 yet, so it's just something I'm gonna have to wait for, and I'm gonna continue to play Tekken 7 just to keep that, I guess muscle memory.
Were you able to try any of its like beta period
Yes,
at all?
I did. I did. I tried the demo, and unfortunately, my character, like in the demos, it kind of took me back to like the old school days when you would get like the Xbox magazine with the demo disc inside of it. It only had like 4 or 5 characters, but none of them were the one that I use.
Sure.
So I couldn't really give I guess like a fair assessment on the game. Like the mechanics are beautiful, but as far as how the game felt playing, I didn't really play with those characters when I played Tekken 7. So
Right, so it'd be hard to kind of judge how much is
yeah,
carried over from the last one to this one.
yeah, but I've seen people who use the same character or the same character as I. I've been watching them on like Twitch and on Twitter. So she looks beautiful. So I can't really wait to see how I am with her. So someone on Facebook was like, "Oh, we're saved." I was like,
Because I know they're scared of you.
I don't know why. I don't know why people are scared of me in Tekken.
Sure, yeah,
Like
no idea why people would be scared of Cat's characters in Tekken.
I don't know why. I'm decent, but someone was like, "Oh, we're spared, we're saved." Someone called me a menace. Like I just don't. No, don't shake your head in agreement.
No, I see it.
That's
I
not
see
what
it.
no. So, I am still Apex Legends. Unfortunately, the really cool thing, they came out with like an event. the Final Fantasy event on Apex Legends, which is really cool. But I really feel like I hate the fact that Apex Legends, it just feels like they're gearing more toward, it's just like a money grab at this point, and it's really disappointing. Like, instead of focusing, obviously there's different departments of, like, you know, developers. Like, not all developers work on the same thing in a game, and I completely understand that. But it's like the main focus of Apex general overall, it's kind of seems like they're more so worried about profits than keeping the game has just really, really changed. Like, the mechanics are different. The game just isn't as fun. The more they add stuff, the more I feel like it takes away from just the basis of the game.
Yeah,
It's just,
the most recent event was like that Final Fantasy tie-in,
yes,
right? Final Fantasy 7
yeah,
stuff.
which is really cool. It's a really cool, like, but I kind of feel like the more they add and change things, it just takes away from the overall appeal of Apex Legends. So, I think Kiba just said, "No idea." Looks at montage in the FTC chat. You know what, Kiba? I'm not gonna take that slander on this stream. Okay, like, I'm not doing it.
Slander. Those are true statements.
So yeah, Apex Legends, I still like it, but man, like season 6, season 7, that was like so much fun. That's when I first started playing. And it just felt like the game was just like perfect. But now it just seems extremely oversaturated with like micro purchases and the overall mechanic. And I've noticed this in Apex Legends, and I'm not sure if this would be the same for Fortnite and for Call of Duty, but it seems like the developers cater more towards the pro players than they do the casual players, which is really interesting because the majority of your players are casual. So it's like you're appealing to a very small demographic of the people that play when there's over 200, from my understanding, that's over 200 million people play Apex. So it's like you're catering, I think at one point, yeah, it was like about 200 million people were playing, which is crazy, but it's like you're catering to a very specific small group, changing an entire game and making it less like you're the pro, like, because they complain about something and the devs change it. So it's like, you know, you're a pro. If you're a pro, you should be able to adapt to whatever change is being made, because casual players are just playing for fun. So, but anyway, I digress.
But no, I mean, you make a good point, and it's a complaint that I hear a lot in terms of like multiplayer games. Like, full disclosure, I work for Rainbow Six Siege as a community manager, so it's something that comes up a lot about balance changing, right? And it is true. Like, the balance teams do focus on what the pro players point out, and the reason for that, I think, is because the pro players are playing with the mechanics to their fullest, so they do actually point out certain things that the devs were probably worrying about themselves. They're like, is this a little too much, or is that a little too much? Like, they're playing to the full extent of the mechanics. So, like, when they look at balancing, they do look at kind of the full gamut. And the casual players, it's kind of the opposite of what you're saying, is that the casual players don't care in a lot of cases about something being unbalanced. Like, they play for fun. So, like, they won't even probably complain about it, honestly, the way a pro player would. So it makes more sense to kind of not.
And that makes sense, Casey. Yeah, and I understand, but like, I'll give you an example for Apex. So there's before this is probably season 8 or 9 maybe. So like, we had an auto revive. So basically it was a shield and you could auto revive yourself. So devs or pros kept complaining that was like, when they can auto revive themselves, like, it just, with the shield, it's an unfair advantage. So they took that away. And then, so that's, for me, I'm like, that's not necessarily a mechanical issue. That's just a part of the game that you think makes it difficult for you to win. So they complain about that, or they complain about, this gun is OP XYZ. Well, you're a pro, like, and I've always seen that with rollouts. Whenever they introduce a new gun or a new character, they're always OP in the beginning. That's just, and then they adjust as they go along, right? So the things that I've seen in Apex, they're not necessarily mechanical issues, but just complaints that the pros have made about how it makes it more difficult for them to win, in my opinion. That from what I've seen on Twitter,
what a pro is gonna
TikTok,
go and complain about.
So, but other than that, so I've kind of been playing Apex still, and then I'm still answering to the man Tom Nook on Animal Crossing. I looked at my Switch and I've logged 420 hours on Animal Crossing.
Damn.
So,
like, I know Animal
JMA's
Crossing.
I know someone who's got 3,500 hours in Animal Crossing.
So I don't feel so bad, but I found a
don't feel too bad.
community.
It's a lot of hours. Not to take
It
away,
is.
it is a lot of hours, but I know
Like,
someone who's got everything in that
Look
game.
up like Animal
Insane.
Crossing Islands. Some people, it's amazing what these people can create on these islands. Like
Agreed.
it's truly amazing. Like, all the tools that were afforded like in this game, and I aspire to be like that. So I would kind of say like that's my comfort game. Like I like to play that when I want to hyper focus on something. Like that's Animal Crossing. Like I need this tree to be exactly at this angle at this bridge, and I need my house to be at this certain angle when the trees are falling, the leaves are falling, and the sun. Because it's the coolest little game. I love it.
Yeah.
As far as what I'm watching, I binge watched Jujutsu Kaisen the second season.
okay. A lot of buzz around that.
I love Jujutsu Kaisen, but they almost lost me. They almost lost me
Really?
when I saw Mei Mei in the bed with that little boy. They almost lost me with that scene. Like,
Okay, no spoilers because I've not watched it yet.
okay.
It's very disturbing sentence you
Yes,
just mentioned.
yes, exactly. They almost look and I have such a conflicting relationship with anime because it's like you know how my view on a lot of things when it comes to anime, Sigma, and it's kind of like when it comes to the over sexualization of women, and when it comes to like all these themes, I have a very conflicting relationship with anime. So I think that's why I'm very picky about what I watch, being such a huge fan of anime as a kid. So, yeah, but I like Jujutsu Kaisen. We had an anime convention in town yesterday, and he's deployed, so I can show this. I emailed him. My boyfriend's deployed currently, so I had emailed him to see like, are y'all still out at sea? Because I don't want him to see this. So I met Eric Vale from One Piece, the voice actor, and Sanji is like my boyfriend's like favorite One Piece character. So I got it autographed for him.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, so he put Diablo Jumbo. So I just started One Piece, so I'm not really familiar.
Yeah, that's
with Sanji.
one of his attack
Sayings,
call-outs.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
When he puts his
asked
whole foot on fire.
He asked me, like, do you want me to say like write a certain saying? I was like, I'm sorry, sir. Like I'm just starting One Piece. Like I don't really know Sanji like that. So I like it so far. I'm nowhere near where everyone else is, but I like it so far. So that's necessarily what I've been watching and doing. The guy who speaks for Goku was there, and his line was like ridiculously long, like wrapped around the corner.
Yeah, I imagine.
I was telling my friend, I was like, you know what? I should just go buy a pop and get it signed, just so I can show people that I have it signed, even though everyone knows I'm anti-Goku.
Yeah, because she talks bad trash about Goku in the streets.
Everyone knows I'm anti-Goku, so I was like, I could just get his autograph and let people know that I have it. His fan base have it.
And told him what's what. You should have given him a piece of your mind.
Well, like he's the voice actor, like he's not the writer, so it's like I have no smoke with him. He can't
it through him.
JMA.
Like you let your writers know.
He can't catch a stray. I won't do that. But it was fun. He was the Eric Vale. He was really, really nice. He was really nice. So that was it was a pretty cool experience. Other than that, not really much. I think I'm gonna I just restarted. Legend of Korra.
That's gonna be show.
Yes, I just restarted Legend of Korra, and the first time I watched it, obviously I was always like Team Aang. But I think going back and watch, this will be the third time I've watched Legend of Korra. I think going back, they obviously dealt with different things within their like time span or their time period. Aang was 12; he had a year to defeat the Fire Lord. Korra had years and years of training. However, her opponents are much more difficult than just Fire Lord Ozai.
Yeah,
so I think
she had like kind of very strange interpersonal and socio-political connections with her enemies, like that made it way more complicated than just the bad guy I have to go beat.
So it was like Aang was dealing with he was dealing with obstacles on his way to get to Fire Lord Ozai, and Korra is dealing with multiple different situations all at once. So it's like, I think that I didn't give Korra a fair shake when I first saw it because I was always Team Aang. But I think
a lot of people didn't like seeing her kind of lose in a lot of ways. And to be honest, Aang also lost several of his fights on his way to the
He
ending.
lost he lost to Azula. He lost to when she struck him in the back.
Yeah,
Like
he nearly
he lost
died.
several times.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think that, you know, I think it's maybe the arrogance of her character that people didn't really like at first,
Sure,
which
I get that.
it's kind of on par with who she is, but it's also a humbling for her. Like
Mhm.
you're not, excuse my language, like you're not hot shit like you thought you were. So,
Mhm.
I think
I'm team
overall it's a good story. I think the problem was that they led with the cockiness,
yes.
and that's what turned a lot of people, because people were already, like you were saying, I think everyone originally was Team Aang, and
I mean, yeah, how could you
going
not be?
into it,
He's
yeah,
the
right,
hero.
and then going into it and having that cockiness straight out of the bat, like they start with that. I think it turned a lot of people off, and I was one of those people. I was just like, I don't like this cockiness.
I think that's
It didn't
intentional
fit with me.
though, because like
I agree.
if you
I
are
agree.
gonna have like a character who's full of themselves and bullheaded in a show, like that is how you need to be introduced to them, because their growth won't matter to you if you find out down the road that they were somehow cocky and
Oh
overzealous.
yeah, for sure. It's just I agree that the arc, Korra's arc, is very very satisfying, and you
Mhm.
need to have that arc be satisfying. But having it be your main character and leading with it, and not having them in a way like earn that is what I thought was a little bit of the mistake. It was like you could have maybe started it where we saw her earn some of it from a few fights and a few things,
Where
and then
you understand where it comes from at least.
yeah, rather than just like
Mhm.
instantly, like
Sure,
the
I get
famous
you.
line is, "I'm the Avatar, deal with it." Like,
Yeah, like and that line in particular is so funny because that definitely felt like a preemptive reaction to what I think maybe some of the writers or animators suspected would be the reaction. It was like, oh, the new Avatar is a female.
yeah,
And some folks would have just very loudly proclaimed, we don't like this based on just that. And I think
yeah.
that sort of a call out was specifically aimed at that sort of audience. Not
Mm.
saying that because, it rubbed you the wrong way. It probably rubbed a lot of people the wrong way just
Oh
for
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
reason
It's
you're
just
saying.
that was what you
But
feel
yeah, I
the
think that
writing
was
may
what
have
they
been
were
doing.
getting at.
Yeah.
Because that's something a lot of like very smartly written cartoons, it is an issue that they run into, is like they're very hyper aware of kind of the audience and both sides of the audience, the ones who love what they do, the ones who don't like what they do. And sometimes they'll get really cheeky in their writing. Like Teen Titans Go does this a lot. They make fun of the people who hate on them all the time. And I find it
Top
hilarious because I'm a fan of the
tier.
show.
I love Teen Titans Go. Top tier music. May I add?
Yeah,
Sorry.
they got bangers on that show. But yeah, man, you just brought up Avatar. How do you feel about the live action trailer that just came?
I think it looks wonderful. I think that, kind of funny. I forgot his name. Kim, the guy that's playing Firelord Ozai.
Oh, Daniel Day Kim.
Daniel Day Kim. He has the internet in shambles, and it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Like women are like,
the girlies are thirsty.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to side with Avatar. Someone put a meme of someone pointing like he's over there. There's the Avatar. There's the Avatar over there. It looks really, really good. I'm just really. This is why I guess I'm just sad because like when the trailer for the first one came out in 2000, it was right before I left for the Navy.
Uh-huh.
When it came out, the trailer looked so
It was
good.
It was a good
It was
trailer.
beautiful. It was so beautiful. Like it wasn't cartoony, and you just see Aang. You know it's already Aang from like the moment they show him in that abandoned air temple. You know it's Aang. So it's like, oh my god, this looks so good. And then you get the widescreen pan out, and then it looks to the ocean, and it's all those Fire Nation ships.
It was a really good teaser.
It was a really good teaser. And then when the movie came out, I saw it after I had graduated from boot camp, and I was like, what is this? And I think he had such a good, what was his name? Noah Ringer.
Oh yeah,
was
the actor who
the
played,
boy that played Aang.
Yeah.
I felt like he was such a perfect fit for Aang. And you know what? We haven't seen that boy since.
Yeah.
That he like
Career
disappeared.
died.
That boy
Like, he-
disappeared like off the face of the earth. Like
I
I don't know.
If I remember
He
correctly,
got so much hate
Well, I don't think it was his fault at all, for sure.
at all. I don't
But,
think so either.
One mistake was like he was a white kid. Like that was probably a mistake in casting. He was a white kid.
Yes.
And like, if I remember correctly, he was like from Texas as well.
Yeah.
But he won out kind of a nationwide search for like young martial artists, and I think he basically just won whatever that competition was, and so that's how he got the role. So like he wasn't really an actor, but like he was kind of the best of what they were specifically looking for. But I think what they were looking for shouldn't have been a young white kid.
I think
sorry.
he was what's the term, like passing, like is he or could he be? And I felt like the casting was just was a horrible, like I see what M. Night like when I told my friends, I was like, it should have been M. Night Shall We Not? Like that was just ridiculous. Like I think it was, I'm sorry, I'm getting on a soapbox, but I think the new one looks really, really nice. And I'm looking forward to it. I have not watched the Yu Yu Hakusho live action yet. I just can't bring myself to watch it. I'm just
because you're a super huge fan of that. Like
yes, I am. I just can't bring myself to watch the live action.
It's probably not going to do anything for you, in all honesty, because I don't think it's
probably
bad.
Just make me mad.
I don't think it's that bad, but it's also like it's not doing anything that the anime isn't doing way better. So like as a big fan of it, you'd probably be like annoyed having to sit through it maybe.
Probably so, but that's all that's been going on with me.
Okay. As for me, I don't have that much. I've been working on a bunch of behind the scenes stuff that I can't talk about right now, even though I'm very excited about one of them in particular. But hopefully you'll hear more about that soonish.
You're always so secretive.
I have no
You're
choice.
like, it's my job.
I have
my job.
no choice. But
you're like, it's my job.
I have been doing my weekly streams with the fiance to raise money for the wedding. This past Friday, we finished.
She's beautiful, by the way.
Oh my
goodness, she is so gorgeous. Y'all were just so cute. Y'all were just the cutest. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off, but y'all were just seriously the cutest, Sigma.
Well, I'm glad you find entertainment in us hanging out together, because that's the whole point of the series. And we did finish the game we were playing for the last 3 weeks. Which is the Dark Pictures anthology House of Ashes. If you don't know, those are like kind of the very B-movie horror sort of choose your own adventure type games. We previously played the first two, so it only was natural that we go into House of Ashes, which I think is honestly the weakest of the 3 that are out so far. But it's still a fun time, as the whole hook for those games is like the story doesn't necessarily need to be, amazing, but you having a hand in how it branches is the fun part. So like the decisions we were making to like either get someone killed or try and save someone, and to see like the ramifications of some of the bad decisions we made or the things that we forgot about certain characters and whatnot come back to bear on us, is still very entertaining. So like I did have a good time with it overall. If anything, they waste a lot of your time with like setup and it's hard to say, like kind of like framing in terms of like like they'll try to cinematically frame a situation, but it'll take so long to have you actually interact with any of it that it's super easy to just freaking drift off and start thinking about something, especially since we're like streaming the whole time. So like chat's interacting with us and stuff. We'll all of a sudden return and realize that there was a button prompt and like I'm too late to hit it because like it just wasn't holding our attention at all before that popped up on the screen. So hopefully they can maybe get that formula right, because I think the games prior didn't have I think they had a lot more gameplay in between their big cutscenes. They ripped a lot of the actual gameplay out, but then they replaced it with a lot of dead space where you're just watching and not doing anything. And I don't know if that's a better choice. So they need to kind of find a better balance of how to keep their players engaged while they're siphoning you to like more bigger decisions. Outside of that, we just finished the Netflix series The Brothers' Son, which stars Michelle Yeoh and a couple of actors that I've not seen anywhere else, but they're all fantastic. Like everyone in that show is really, really good. And like it has if anyone has seen Barry, it has a very similar vibe to that HBO series in how it's about kind of a crime family and a bunch of criminals who do bad things, but they're so likable. Like the characters are like very funny. Like they get into really dumb situations. They have like bigger than life personalities. But then the people who are trying to stop them, who are for all intents and purposes, the good guys, like people like the police, the FBI, people like resistance groups and whatnot, are trying to stop the main characters because they are bad guys. Like they belong to Chinese triads, etc. You're still rooting for the bad guys because like those are your people, like you know them, they feel like your family.
Yeah.
And so it creates this really weird tension where like when things start to wrap up, you're like, crap, I hope they get away with all these murders. Like I hope they get away with all these crimes, but I know that that's bad. And like it's just really funny. And like it gets really like all the comedy stuff that it seeds throughout the show. Near the end, they yank that away from you and it gets so serious in a lot of sections where like all of a sudden like nobody is smiling, everyone is like crying, and like it's super super like heavy in terms of like what's happening, but it fits like tonally, like it still fits because like it's all been building up to like these kind of big revelatory moments between these characters. And honestly, I like the ending. They did kind of end it very neatly, and then at the very end rip a little seam open to be like, all right, well, if you want to do a season 2, we could do a season 2.
Yeah.
But like if it had ended where it ended, I would have like that's perfect. That's a perfect way to end this series. But like I wouldn't hate seeing a season 2. So I'm curious what they'll do next if they get a chance to do something next.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I really really liked it. I think it's one of the better newer Netflix series that they've debuted.
Cool.
But outside of that, don't think I have much else that I can talk about right now. So we'll move on to our first topic. First off, I'll ask, have either of you seen the movie Barbie?
No.
No, you have not seen it.
No, I have not.
I have also not seen Barbie, so this is
Interesting. Okay, question. Did
I
you
know
have
lots about
any
it. I know a lot
You know what it's
about it,
about,
but
okay.
I've not seen it.
like did you have any intention of watching it, or like from the
Yes.
jump you were like, no, I'm not going to watch it?
No, I had an intention of watching it.
Cat not interested.
wouldn't-
Okay.
No.
Interested. I had an interest. I wanted to go see it. I liked the trailers. Greta Gerwig's work has been fantastic, and I wanted to see what she could do with this. And the more that I saw trailer wise, I found it fascinating. The same with like Oppenheimer. I wanted to see Oppenheimer as well. You know, there was a whole thing of
Yeah, the
those
whole
two movies.
synergy.
And I wanted to go see them both. But you know, like with most things in my life, work got in the way because I'm a busy boy, so I didn't get the chance. And now, whenever they've been on streaming services, it coincided with the exact time that the whole escapist implosion happened. We haven't been paid for 3 months, so I've had no money to rent anything. So I haven't been able to.
It's a good point.
I haven't been able to rent it. So, but in its stead, I watch a lot of YouTube essays, and I've watched a few on its production. You know, how everything was put together and stuff like that. So I've got an okay knowledge on a movie I haven't seen.
Same here. Yeah. I think I'd piggyback off of that. Like I haven't I didn't really have any interest. I thought the trailers were pretty cool. Like, do you have your rollerblades? I literally go nowhere without them. Like that was like one of the first trailers that like I saw. It looks like it's beautifully done. Like I would definitely say the costume set, like that is amazing. Like I've seen like stills and behind the scenes and things like that. So I haven't watched. I didn't really have any interest in watching it, but kind of
any
through, I
reason
guess.
why? Because I know you're a big Hello Kitty fan, and that's not necessarily the same thing.
Yeah,
but
it's not.
Like I'm just curious. Like this is like a big budget Hollywood movie for kind of a very girl centered toy brand. It does seem kind of like at least adjacent to that sort of thing. So I'm curious why you were like, is it because of Hello Kitty loyalty? Like I don't know if there's like a beef between the fan bases.
God, no. Honestly, I just didn't have an interest in watching it. You know, like I said, I'm not really much of a moviegoer, so it's like if I watch a new movie, it's kind of like I have to be like genuinely curious about it. But I'm such a creature of habit. Like I watch old movies, so it's like when I watch a new movie, I have to really be. The last time I went to the movies is when or bought something off a streaming service was when No Way Home came out.
Right. Okay.
So and that's yes, and that's the last Marvel movie I've actually watched as well. Like I've just completely lost interest in Phase 4 of the MCU. The last show I watched on Disney Plus was Falcon and Winter Soldier. That was the last Marvel show that I watched. So as far as Barbie, it just didn't interest me. I thought it was cute looking. I like Margot. Is that how you pronounce her name? Margot Robbie?
Yeah, Margot
Robbie. I love her. I think she's great. But the movie itself, I just really wasn't interested in it. And then I saw a lot of think pieces on like both sides of like the movie itself.
Mhm.
To no disrespect to any of the actors or to Greta Gerwig, but like I just didn't really have an interest in watching it. So there's no I'm not a Hello Kitty stan like the Barbs when Nicki Minaj or the Beehive to Beyonce. No, but I just didn't really have an interest in seeing it. So
Okay. Like I did watch it in theaters when it dropped, and when my son was here for the Christmas holidays, he had us rewatch the movie several times because he was a big fan of it as well. So I've seen it a couple of times now, and like I really liked it when I first saw it. Like I actually think it's a better, like a more fun time than Oppenheimer. Like Oppenheimer's a great movie, but it is a bit of a downer. Like if we're being honest.
Well, yeah.
And even though Barbie's also about very serious subject matter, like it talks about the patriarchy and all that, it's very lighthearted about it, which take it or leave it. You appreciate that it's getting the message across in that fashion. But like the big issue here is that a lot of folks think that Margot Robbie should have been nominated for a lead actress Oscar, and Greta Gerwig should have been nominated for a Best Director Oscar, neither of which happened. And folks are wondering if it's a snub because Ryan Gosling, who played Ken in the movie, did get nominated for a Supporting Actor Oscar. So it's kind of like, and this is a big point in the movie as well, how Ken goes into the real world, learns about patriarchy, and then tries and brings it back to Barbie Land. Like, it's almost as if, and this is the narrative that's being made, I'm not agreeing with this is the narrative that's being made online. It's almost as if people within the voting criteria for the Oscars kind of missed the point of the movie.
Or they didn't miss the point, and that's why they didn't nominate them. If I'm making any sense, like
no, that makes sense to me, 100%.
Like it's not that they missed the point; it's that the point pissed them off, and they're like, "Now we're good."
Retaliatory. Okay,
exactly. Like almost like, oh, so that's what you're saying. It's really like it just irritated people, so that's why it's like, okay, the patriarchy. We'll nominate Ryan Gosling and leave you out, kind of thing. We'll prove your point. We'll prove your point at the Oscars. So that's possible.
That's a very cynical way to look at it.
But it's Hollywood.
No, you're right. You're right.
It's Hollywood, right?
I'm not saying that isn't a factor at all. But what I will bring to light, because a lot of what's getting left out of this argument, honestly, is that Barbie did get nominated for several other Oscars, like aside from the supporting male lead that Ryan Gosling got. It did get nominated for Best Costume Design, which was something that you were even talking about.
And it should totally win that for sure.
Best Production Design as well, and Best Adapted Screenplay, which was another little point of contention because folks were like, why couldn't it, like, basically it was disqualified from Best Original Screenplay because it belongs to a brand, even though there's no story, like there's no Barbie story, like they made it all up, but because it's a brand that existed beforehand, it's in the adapted screenplay category, which that's neither here or there.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, I'm sorry, Sigma.
No, go ahead.
So I guess my question would be is because like this is someone who doesn't really consume that type of media. Like I'm just like I said, if I like it, I'll watch it. If not, okay. But my question is so I was nominated for Best Picture, nominated for Screenplay, nominated for Best Costume Design. My question is it not necessarily that Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig were snubbed, but more of who they were going against? Like,
yeah, because there are a lot of big contenders, right?
Think about like that comparison of like who was in that category and who they picked. Like, it's not that she isn't amazing. It's not that Margot Robbie isn't amazing, but it's like who were they going against to get a spot as a nomination for Best Leading Actress or Best Director? That's not saying that Greta Gerwig isn't an amazing director, but it's like, let's see, like, who was she going against? And I think, I understand if it wasn't nominated for anything, I could completely understand, like, okay, come on, y'all. Like,
yeah,
that
like,
seems
if it's being
intentional.
like fully ignored, but like
completely ignored. But you're just talking about two specific sectors, I guess, categories. It's not that the movie isn't great. It's just maybe who they're going. They just didn't compete with who they were going against, I guess, if I'm making any sense.
But it honestly also kind of inadvertently downplays the other nominations. Like, so is Best Picture less important
worthy,
than Best Director? Or
like, it's the Oscar is Best Picture. Like, that is that is the one. You're like, that's the one that the movie directors want. They want Best Picture, because that basically means everyone on the production did their job to such a degree
Right,
that
and
the
better than
entire
every
product-
other release that year.
So
people's
I guess you
experience.
would say that if you are winning Best Picture, which is over, I guess overall, like Best in Show.
Well, they were nominated.
Why
They're
wouldn't?
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
if you
that's
were to be
great.
nominated, then why wouldn't you be nominated for Best Director? Why wouldn't you be nominated for Lead Actress? But then
Because
I
they're
guess
different
going,
categories, right?
yeah,
So,
And
Are
also
there
because I
different,
think
like-
they wanna spread the love, right? Like,
Yeah,
and especially like this isn't a year that had kind of that has a clear favorite, right? We had a Scorsese
Yeah.
release, we had a Nolan release, we had some other like much smaller release, like that French film, The Anatomy of a Fall, apparently like is
everybody
really
loves
good.
that. Yeah.
And that was also a woman director, and it's like, okay, you can't say that they're snubbing you for like any of the reasons involved with like patriarchy and like, you know, a lack of female empowerment, when they are kind of giving nominations to other women in the same position, like because you're kind of
argument would
downplaying
exist.
like their work in
Yeah.
that regard. You're saying like, is
Yeah.
that not worthy of recognition?
This argument would exist, the whole like it's a patriarchy, you know, snub, if Barbie got nominated for nothing else, but then somehow you know, Ryan Gosling still got nominated for
Yes, I
Best
agree.
Leading Actor.
I agree.
But that's not the case, and we just have to look at it this way. I've not seen the movie, but all anyone was talking about, including critics, once that movie came out, was how much of a surprise Ryan Gosling was as.
And I gotta be honest, Ryan Gosling definitely steals the show in that movie.
which is why he's been nominated.
Yeah.
Like he did a great job of it, and that's not to say, like we were saying before, that, you know, Margot didn't do a fantastic job, but does that stack up against, you know, Leo and his supporting actors in the Scorsese movie, and you know, everyone from the Nolan movies and stuff like that? Like, it's a big year, and there's lots of really powerful performances, and Margot's performance as Barbie might not, you know, she probably did a fantastic job, and from what I've seen she did, but she didn't maybe she didn't go that extra mile like, say, Ryan did, or, you know, all the other people
I
did.
agree. One of my favorite movies is Django with Jamie Foxx and
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz. Like, that's like one of my favorite movies, and I would say like Christoph Waltz deserved his Best Supporting Actor Oscar in that movie.
He
And
was a scene stealing mofo in that movie.
He from the very beginning, when he meets those two slave traders at the very beginning, he stole that entire movie the entire time. Like, and I like Jamie Foxx. I think Jamie Foxx did a fantastic job in Django, but it's like you said, like Ryan Gosling probably just, he embodied that role, and he did it he truly depicted what it was like. Like you said, I guess I don't really care about spoilers, but you're essentially saying that he went to the real world, learned about patriarchy, and tried to bring it back to Barbie world. So it's
that's like the main plot point.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I've saw like little scenes like online. Like there was that one scene where I guess he was hurt, and he was talking to Barbie, and then like Dr. Barbie, and they're almost like coddling him, like, yeah, you are strong, yeah, you're good, like,
Right, yeah.
like basically coddling him like as a man. Like, you know, I saw scenes like that I thought were pretty funny. I did see the scene for, I guess, I'm Kin Enough.
Yeah, the
song.
musical number. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really good.
the musical number. So like, I think maybe I will. Maybe I didn't really have an interest in it, but maybe I'll just give it a try. Once
It's
free.
honestly a good time. Like I think you.
Yeah.
I heard great things.
Yeah, so maybe once it's free on streaming platforms, I'll watch it. Like I finally, totally off topic. I finally watched Into the Spider-Verse. So
Me too, actually.
I just watched it. I want to say about a month ago. Yeah, so
What a movie.
I think I can see both sides of the argument, or both sides of like, but at the same time, it's like I could understand for sure if they weren't nominated for anything as a whole. Like if they didn't get nominated for best costume design, I would have been like, yeah, that's definitely a snub for sure.
Like stuff like that just wouldn't
production. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to me. Like how
not
detailed.
to say that
from what
Oscar
I've seen,
nominations or nominations for any sort of award show always make sense. Like there's always some sort of politics, and it's at the whims of this sort of secret group of voters anyway. So it's always based on opinion. Like it's never some sort of objective declaration of this is better than that. It's all based on emotion, right? And I think that's the main issue with this back and forth, is that Barbie being a big brand has a big, loud fan base. And so them not getting recognition feels like a slight because they have a lot of people yelling out about the fact that it's a
and
slight.
the conversation that the movie's having is very important, right? Like about patriarchy and about the treatment of women in industry and stuff like that. It's an important conversation to be having, and this movie encourages that conversation. So when something could be viewed like that outside involving the movie, people are going to start shouting about it, whether that's true or not, right? So I understand where people are coming from. It's just like you have to look at it kind of factually, like you were saying, if they weren't nominated for costume and set and stuff like that, I think there'd be pitchforks out. But it has been, and it's been nominated for all the things that he has very obviously done. It's very obviously done correctly.
Very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's funny, like, you know, that's why consuming media can be so interesting sometimes, because like people are up in arms about it. Like, what if Greta Gerwig is like, look, a win is a win. Best picture, all right, a win is a win for me. Like, a win is a win. Best costume design, a win is a win. Like, you know, I think the director herself and Margot Robbie herself, they're probably excited about those things. But people are like, the opinion of people that consume the media care more about it than the people who actually created it. Like, we don't know what those people are thinking.
Yeah.
So
like
I think
Ryan Gosling
it's
and Simu Liu both released statements that said that they were kind of disappointed that Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig didn't get anything. And I think that was immediately after a lot of people got up in arms about it. And like, honestly, to be cynical, it seems a little bit like Damage Control. Like Ryan Gosling being the one nominated had to be like, oh, well, I'll take this. I'm so honored that they nominated me, but like, y'all should have really paid recognition to the other people on my team here. But he didn't say I wasn't going to accept the nomination. Like, he was like,
exactly.
He's still like, if he wins, he's still going to go up on that stage and be like, thank you.
And for me personally, like if that were me, like if my coworker got nominated for something, I'm like, bro, you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. Like, you did your job. Like, I can't control how people viewed how I did my job. But if you got nominated for something, you did your job. That has nothing to do with me. My name's Bennett, and I ain't in it. So it's like, I don't think and maybe they had the conversation before, but it's like, you know, I wouldn't want my coworker who worked just as hard as me, if they got nominated, that's not their fault. And you shouldn't have to explain yourself or do damage control because of how someone else viewed your performance over mine. Like, that's just, you know,
that's a
me.
fair point.
Like, that's just me. Like, bro, you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. You don't have to take up arms for me. You don't have to defend me. I did my job to the best of my abilities, and I know that. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, if I know I did what I was supposed to do and I did my job, I don't care.
Lampy in the chat would highlight a message says, I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, this person should have been nominated for Best Director because the movie is better than the other person who got nominated, forgetting it's about the direction, not the movie overall, completely ignoring what the category is, which is a good point.
And I know, like, back, what was it, 2000? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. What was it, when, I think it was 2020 or 2021, when Parasite, like, swept the entire Oscars.
Yeah.
They swept the entire show, and no one said nothing because everyone was in agreement. That was such a good movie. It was funny. It had drama. The directing was great. Like the character interaction, like it was just a great movie. So I just kind of feel like people are up in arms. Like, and this is just me. Like, again, I haven't seen the movie, but it's like, I think people are up in arms specifically because of what the movie is about. And it's like, you're just proving the movie's point. You're just proving the movie's point when not really looking at it. Like, okay, let's look at the overall category of who's in it and what other movies are up for these nominations and XYZ. Like, are you really that upset, or are you just trying to push the narrative of the movie itself? If I'm making any sense, like
Yeah. Like, there's
like, are you really mad, or are you just trying to say, oh, the movie's proving its point, and that's why they weren't nominated?
Like, being upset about this instance slots into a very neat talking point for like internet clout chasers who kind of do this for a living.
Yeah.
So like, it's good fodder for that sort of engagement, which is probably a lot of the noise that's happening here. But again, I think you're 100% right that like, it's because it fits so nice into that narrative. Like, that's why there's a lot of talk about it. But I also think like, if because it's a big brand, there's some of that factor in it too. Like if this had been, because this used to happen for a lot of the Marvel movies, like when they were super popular, folks were like, when is one of these superhero movies gonna get an Oscar? Like the Academy does not care about like Marvel movies or DC movies, right? They don't really give them anything. I think Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight was the only one that like was it? I don't think it was nominated even for like Best Picture, or was it?
I don't believe
I
so.
thought it was.
They got a posthumous Best Actor
for Heath Ledger. But yeah, I don't think, and I think, and if any one of these superhero movies was gonna get nominations like that, it probably would have been The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think Black Panther won like a Best Costume Design Oscar at some point too.
And it was nominated. Wasn't it nominated for Best Picture? It didn't win, but it was nominated, right?
For Best Picture?
Yeah, I thought it was.
I don't remember that. I have to look that up because I don't remember that. But I know it won for costume design, which makes sense.
And I think, and I guess for me, it's like, I know the premise. Like I read like the synopsis of what, like you said, Barbie was about.
Nominated for Best Picture.
It was nominated for Best Picture. Okay.
Nominated for Best Picture, production design, original score, costume design, sound mixing, and sound editing.
Damn.
So like as a woman who served in the military, I have a very familiar experience with the patriarchy. So I've experienced it myself as a woman. I think that it does exist, and it is there. It's a living thing. But I don't think that that's the reason why Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig were not nominated in those respective categories.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, that's not my niche. That's not my career field. So obviously, I'm just going from a consumer standpoint. But yeah, I think sometimes people tend to make a big deal out of things or read far more into things. And I get it. Like sometimes it is what it is. Like, if it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, it's a duck, right? But I think sometimes people will take something and just weave a completely different narrative than what it is. And I'm not saying that that's what's happening now, but it's not surprising if that were the case. So I'm excited that it's great that it got nominated for something, because I'm extremely, by what I have seen, I will say this, the actors are not the reason why I would be interested in watching it. It's the production, the costume design and the production and that, like, that's the thing that would make me want to watch it. The fact
my camera's out of focus. I'm trying to fix it.
I was like, high five. Okay.
That's a sick, nasty take. High five.
So I think that's the reason why the same reason why it's nominated is, for me personally, is the same reason why I think I would want to watch it, for the production, for the costume design, for those other things. So yeah, I think people are just in their feelings. I don't understand why people go so hard for things that really don't affect their lives.
Because it means something to their core being. Like, this is what fandom is, right? They attach something about themselves personally to an external thing that they have no actual control over. And so when that thing is slighted, they feel slighted. Say again?
It gets some Twitter views as well, which is a bonus.
Yeah, that's the scummy half of it. I think the fandom part is kind of sad, honestly. When someone is like, because you don't like this thing I like they feel like personally attacked and threatened. Like, I think that's sad. They should find
I agree.
other ways to interact with the world than that. But speaking of, I was gonna say world interactions. I don't know how that was gonna tie into the next topic.
Nice segue, dude. Nice segue.
That was actually pretty terrible. But moving on. We're going to talk about our final topic here, which is not Palworld overall, but we'll probably just get into the nitty-gritty of it. But the Pokemon Company finally responds to all of the scuttlebutt that's been happening about Palworld. If you have been under a rock...
Scuttlebutt. Gossip.
That's one of my favorite words, honestly. If you've been living under a rock for the past week, you may not have heard of a little game called Palworld, which is early access game. So it's not even a finished game yet, but it's kind of a Pokemon-like game, but it has a bunch of survival crafting elements in it. And what's controversial about it is, well, more than one thing, but one of the controversial things about it is that it has a lot of creature designs that look very similar to existing Pokemon. And the other is that it gives it gives them guns. Like the Pokemon guns, it gives your characters guns. There's
Pokemon with guns, you can kill
Yeah.
them.
So
You shoot them. You
King-
put them in mines. It's a slavery like simulator.
well,
there's a lot.
it's a survival crafting game, and you can use your Pokemon as a resource in terms
So
of
slavery.
Resource is a very strong way of saying slave.
So slavery.
well,
King Dead said, "Is Scuttlebutt a Pokemon?"
probably that you're probably
No.
you're probably
No,
close.
It's cool,
Scuttlebutt is a Navy term for water fountain. So you like in the office when you say gossip around the water cooler, people gossip around the water cooler at work.
Mm-hmm.
So word around the scuttlebutt is like basically saying, "Oh, it's just gossip." Sorry, I digress. I just saw that comment. I just wanted to expound upon it. Sorry.
No, all good. Yeah, the reason why, because folks are making the slavery argument. There is, I think, a form of slavery in this game, but not in the way you would probably think. Like there's a mechanic where you can capture like an enemy human, and then and I think you can make those humans work for you on your whatever.
So slavery.
You can.
No, yeah, that's slavery, but that's the kind of slavery from like war, right? It's not the kind of slavery that America
Pokemon's
is trying to
sentient,
fix it.
right? Like if I stole a bunch of dogs and made them work in like a toffee pulling factory and made them pull toffee all day, am I committing a crime? Are they slaves? Those
Well,
Are you
I
paying
would
them?
argue no, because they're dogs, right?
But you
Like,
took something. You took something out of its
animal
natural.
abuse, right? That's animal abuse. Like you
Sure,
would-
yeah, you can
pay
make the
with
argument for animal abuse, but when folks say like, just say there's slavery in it, I feel like that's a different thing.
All right, let's get into this. Let's get the definition for slavery.
Oh. So
I mean-
would you say the whole premise of Pokemon as a whole is animal abuse?
Yes.
In that regard,
Like Pokemon
Yeah, the
is
whole
about
premise of
dog
Pokemon-
fighting.
Capture. You
Yeah,
capture
essentially.
creatures, take them against their will and make them dogfight. It's brutal.
But that's not the thing. Is that's not the point of? And again, I don't want to sound like a Palworld defender,
Casey.
but the thing is, those are the things that are making headlines because they're like ostentatious, right? Like this is a crazy wild thing to put in a game like this, right?
Yeah. Oh, I got the definition. A condition of having to work very hard without proper remunerations or appreciation. So, and it says female domestic slavery. So I guess you could anything could be under slavery if they're not being given the correct appreciation afterwards. If they're not being paid, basically. Can you pay a dog? Can you pay a dog if you don't feed them? I guess.
I mean,
That's abuse.
I don't think that counts as remuneration, like just feeding your captive.
Hey,
like they're
Ludo,
still a
my dog,
captive.
she gets pocket money. She gets to spend it on whatever she wants. And if I don't give it to her, she's a slave.
Like there is slavery in the game. I'm not saying there isn't.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that's not the point, and that's not what it.
No,
that's
no,
honestly
no.
not what people are on the internet up in arms about. Like it's not just
Yeah,
that.
but I'm saying let's start a new thing. Let's get some more.
let's
drama going.
make a new. Like, because honestly, it's besides the point, right?
Yeah.
The thing. And again, we're getting into the weeds of Palworld itself, and not necessarily Nintendo's response to it. But that's fine for now. The thing is, like it creates a space where the Pokemon formula is doing things that Nintendo wouldn't do, and I think that's the main point. Like whether those things are good or bad is an entirely different argument. What it's doing is taking the Pokemon formula and trying something wild with it. And I'm pro that. Like it doesn't have to be this, but like I like it. I like the idea of devs and creators trying new things with that formula. So like I am in support of that narrative. And I've played the game. Like I've put at this point like maybe 10, 15 hours into Palworld. I've been playing it with two of my friends, and it is fun. Like it's a good time. Like you're doing not, and this isn't all the time. Like the animal abuse stuff and the slavery stuff, like that's not the bulk of the game. Like mostly you're just building a base, you're running around and catching, like you're fighting other creatures and you're catching other creatures exactly the same way you kind of would in Pokemon, except it's not turn-based and janky. It's still janky, but it's in an open world, and like you actually fight a thing and like you aim and throw a thing. Like it's much more immersive in that sort of adventure and exploring and learning about the creatures of the world type thing. And that stuff is fun. But I fully understand the fact that what people are up in arms about is that the game is very soulless in that it is copying kind of a winning formula and putting in things in a very cynical way. Like that interview that came out with the CEO essentially said that like he's not necessarily like a fan of originality. He's like, he wants to take the things that are popular and work and just mash them together for profit.
To make money.
Yeah. And like, I can't be mad at a guy who is telling you like it is. Like, he's telling you in an interview, like, this is my plan. This is how I want to operate. This is the idea I have. And then once he does it, it's a success. Like, can you really be upset at that? Like, he didn't lie.
People aren't buying this and have not bought this game because it is a survival game or is mimicking Pokemon. They've bought it because it was a massive meme. Their marketing was unbelievably good. They released a trailer which was Pokemon for the first 15 seconds, and then they whipped out a gun and started killing them, and then put them in the mines and did a slavery. And people were like, this is hilarious. We're going to buy this. And that meme got so big that they've made like $60 million or something stupid on it. And that's why nobody ever talks about the gameplay or how it plays.
That's because all the other conversation is kind of overtaking
so
that.
Big, right?
Yeah. But like, because I have played the game, and like, I am not a fan of Pokemon. Like, I'm a fan of Pokemon the brand because I love the design of those creatures, and I watched the anime for several years growing up. But like, I played the first game, Yellow, and I really liked it. And any other one I tried after that, just like you were saying, Jay, you bounced off of Spider-Man a little bit because like, they're not bad, but they are the same game, and I don't want to play the same game over and over again. And Nintendo and Pokemon Company release almost exactly the same game in that genre every single year. This is different. Palworld is different. Palworld's probably not going to be the end all be all in terms of like Pokemon's like spin-offs, but the fact that they did this and are successful is going to give somebody an idea of like, what if we put like actually a little bit of effort and creativity into a
I'm
Pokemon
terrified.
experience.
I was going to make a video on this, but we decided against it at Second Wind. I think the success of Palworld is going to do damage to the games industry. I think it's not good. Not the game itself. It can be its thing. It can exist. It's not something I would play, and that's fine. I don't like RTS games. Doesn't mean I think people who play RTS games are dumb. It's just not my genre. Like,
fair.
Each to their own. But the fact that this game is an asset flip, so anyone who doesn't know what that is, it means they've effectively bought 95% of their assets from a store and then put them into the game. They bought them, they didn't make them. It means the game is very unoriginal looking. Like you said, soulless and very like just cobbled together.
Yeah, very formulaic,
very
algorithmically designed.
Yeah, and asset flips, I made a video on it, are very easy to make. And the problem is that most asset flips don't do very well because people realize their asset flips, they always look the same. They're always, mediocre, and it's like they're not really worth it. This is probably the first one, a fully built asset flip that has made a stupid amount of money. So I know that all of the students, and I know students of this at the uni I teach at, that are like, well, I don't want to try and go work for these companies or start my own indie company. I want to asset flip a game and make $60 million.
Right.
Because I could do that. I know students who could make Palworld by themselves. Like, they're that talented, and instead of using that talent to make actual original content, they're going to use it to flip and try and find that meme concept to try and market it to get it to this new height. And we're going to see a whole slew of them coming out in the next 5 years.
Okay. I mean, that's a good point. That, the success of this sort of thing is definitely going to inspire copycats. But is it possible that the people who are inspired to copy in that vein weren't creatives, like weren't true creatives to begin with? Because, like, I know you're saying, like, you have students who are talented,
corrupted, right?
Everyone
can be corrupted.
Oh, you're saying it will corrupt them?
Yeah, no, I know, it definitely will. Like, it's people. Even creatives love money. Everybody loves money.
Sure.
And if I told you you can spend the next 5 years of your life working on a passion project game where you're going to get paid basically nothing, and then there is a risk of it doing well, and it could have been for nothing, which is what game development is, even if you're working in AAA. It's you're going to put 5 years of your life into something, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to get let go when the game's done, whether it does well or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, or you could put the same amount of talent into asset flipping 5 games, and even if one of them does as well as Palworld, which I think is a flash in the pan and lightning in a bottle, but there's that possibility, a lot of super talented people would be like, well, I'll just do that, make a load of money, and then make my passion project, and which means we're going to see a lot more of these, I think.
So a lot of oversaturated, the same content just reinvented with a new meme.
But again, like you were saying, Jay, like would something like, because I agree 100%. Folks are going to look at this and copy, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that Palworld is a flash in the pan. Like, I don't think, even with all the copycats, they're going to get anywhere near.
Still, 100%. And that doesn't mean I don't mean those people are going to get the success that Palworld saw. I just mean they are going to try. And a lot of people are going to try. And a lot of people are going to asset flip games. And it's
I honestly got to say, like, even like you're saying, like, these are talented people, anyone can be corrupted, which is true because, money, power, influence, all those things will change a person. I still feel like that kind of acts as a filter. Like, sure, we could get like these bright-eyed, bushy-tailed devs out into the world to do like good creative work, but if they are corruptible to the point where they turn around and just make asset flip games, which deservedly don't get millions of dollars because they are kind of soulless creations.
Only the good people are left.
Right. Yeah. Like the people who survived that sort of.
It's a very positive way
trial.
I like that optimism. I'll try and take some of that actually, because you actually raised a really good point.
And again, and those people might learn their lesson. Like they'll try to take the easy route, realize that this was a waste of their time trying to do like a cheap asset flip, and then maybe go back. But I think that's all about right. I think like I wouldn't put like someone's personal decisions, even if they are inspired by something externally, I wouldn't put the blame on that external thing. Like Palworld might be a trigger
at the end of the day.
But they are making a decision.
There's more of that temptation now because it has been proved that a well-marketed asset flip meme game can make a horrific amount of money. Part of it is like, I'm a game designer, so I'm thinking very like game designery and how's this going to affect me. But also from a consumer standpoint, the market is, even though we're already flooded with asset flips, that is just going to happen 10 times more now because there's going to be a new wave of people attempting to do this. And we're probably going to see some, maybe AA studios being like, well, let's just make a meme game and like just get it out as quick as possible. And from a consumer standpoint, I don't think that's great either. I love the idea of anti-genres. Like this game is a Palworld is taking Pokemon and doing it in a different way, and I like that. I think it's great. I just don't like the way they did it with the all of the asset flips.
I understand what you mean.
If it inspires an anti-genre renaissance, I'm here, right? Like we start getting new twists on the RTS genre, on the FPS genre, and people start trying to do weird things. That is great for the consumers and great for designers because we get to experiment. But I don't know. I see a lot of the asset flip stuff being emulated rather than the anti-genre thing.
Yeah, because that's the easier part of that formula to copy, right? And I saw in chat some folks were basically saying, Deebs in particular says Palworld seems to have a lot more effort put into it than most asset flips, at least based on what I've seen. There's an actual game in there, and I do kind of want to agree with that. Like Palworld is very much a soulless amalgamation of just what is popular, but there is a level of anti-genre, like you're saying in there. That game is having a discussion with actual Pokemon in it. Like with the it's saying if Pokemon is this, then what if it was this? Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not completely against it.
And as soulless as the mashing of those ideas are, like that conversation is worth merit. Like there's something there. Like there's really funny stuff in Palworld. Like someone put their humor into that game. Like there's a there's a Pokemon that basically looks like a real slutty lizard, like just like real crazy slutty lizard. Its number is 69 in its PAL Dex, and apparently like it several of them can raid your base, and they call them fangirls. Like fangirls are basically raiding your base. So like someone who has a sense of humor is writing instances and stuff for power. Like it's not like it's not fully like this sort of machine made creation. Like there is some care and attention, and there is some dialogue with its role in the creature collector universe going on.
Yeah,
there. So
I'm
like
not
I don't
saying
think
it
it's
doesn't deserve
fully
to exist.
yeah, like it's not fully this cynical thing, but there's a lot of cynicism in its creation for sure.
Yeah. It's
Wait, did you
not
say
that-
it's? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Damn, I'm sorry. You're saying it's not cynical, but it's about a slutty lizard, and its deck number is 16. Like, but it's not cynical though. Like,
No, I'm saying it's
by any means.
It's very cynically made, but there's a perspective there. Like if the perspective is cynicism, like that still counts, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it's not cynical to games in general, as if saying like this is just a product.
Okay,
Put it on the
yeah.
conveyor belt and get it out to the masses.
Like some
It's
thought was
cynical
actually
in the
put into
conversation
it,
of
yeah.
saying like video
Yeah.
games
and that's what's led
in
to
general,
its success,
right?
It is a churned out, bare minimum game, but it's framing stuff in a way that's entertaining, right? That's why so many
Yes.
people and so many people are digging it. And like my stance on it is that I'm not saying I don't think it should exist, and I think it's completely bad and people are dumb for playing it. I don't think that at all. If you enjoy it and you find that stuff funny, like that's fantastic. I don't play it because I hate survival games with a passion. I don't find them fun. And I don't find the meme of Pokemon but there are guns funny. It's like Untitled Goose Game. That game is good until the joke that you're playing a goose stops becoming funny.
Yeah, and that's
then that
like
game's
an hour or
not
two
good.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what this is to me. It's like, yeah, it's funny, they're Pokemon with guns, but then once that dies down, you're just playing an okay survival game,
Right.
And
that's either
that's
going to work
not
for
my
you
thing.
or it won't.
Yeah, and it doesn't work for me. That I'm not its target audience, and that's fine. It's just its gargantuan success is going to have ramifications, and I think some of that could be negative or positive, like you said. I think it's a beautiful way of looking at it.
But no, yeah, you make great points, honestly.
I think it's. I'm sorry.
No,
Casey.
go ahead.
I think it's really interesting, like when we talk about like the premise of Palworld. Like I've seen like clips and stuff of it on Twitter. That's where I get most of my news from. Twitter. It's a reliable source.
To be fair, we kind of all do.
So
Sadly
like
enough.
going back to how you're like essentially Palworld is about like slavery, and it's like so how these video games kind of, whether it's intentional or not, how they have these real life themes or issues that we are talking about. And I just think it's kind of funny. I was kind of thinking about like taking Animal Crossing, for example. Like it's a super cute game, but like when you really think about it, like it's really about consumerism and living above your
capitalism.
means,
Yeah.
and capitalism, living above your means, because it's like, you can buy a little house, but then you're in debt to Tom the Nook for 300,000 bells. And then if you pay that off, he's like, "Oh, are you looking to expand your home?" And then you're like, "Yeah." And then, okay, now you owe me 700,000 bells. And then, "Oh, you know what? I think I want a 4-bedroom with a basement." "Oh, okay, now you owe me 1.2 million bells." Like, I think it's really interesting that these games are meant to be funny and cute, but they have some really serious life themes or life topics that people, it's like we accept it in the video game consumer form, but it's like when we see it in real life, then we have like an issue with it.
Yeah,
If
like-
if I'm making any sense at all, like
No, it makes sense. Yeah, like it's the whole cozy genre, right? Like you're simulating like farm work or house cleaning, like you're doing chores and stuff. You're farming, right? This is arduous, time-consuming labor in real life, but folks go into a virtual space to do the exact same thing.
I'm not gonna
And
be
it's
playing
relaxing.
picking cherries and shaking trees and cutting down stuff. Like I would never do that in real life because it's just not a skill that I have. But
Yeah.
it's cute. It's cute because it has a cute little cartoon cherry on it, and I'm gonna do it. So I just thought it was
It's a strange phenomenon. Yeah.
us talking about Palworld and like the themes of it, and going beyond just the type of like, I guess, would this be considered? And please excuse me, I'm just asking from I guess, would this be considered, JM, like a money grab type of game to you, like a cash grab?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Like just,
Absolutely. And that's why I was just thinking about this. I hope this doesn't get clipped out of context. That's a good way to start.
Yeah,
Start.
it's a
Right,
great way to
right.
get clipped out of context.
I I would much rather the success of this game go to devs that are actually passionate and were going to do something with that money, rather than a company that has self-proclaimed said that they don't care about art or they don't care about making something that is going to, inspire and do positive things. They just want to
Well, I
make
mean,
money. They want to
they
take fun things and bring them
what the
together.
CEO said was that he wasn't interested in originality. Like, I don't think he ever said he doesn't care about art.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, first thing to clip out of context was the thing I just said then. Second, yeah, I really wish all that money went somewhere else. That went to a team that could actually do something better with their next project. Like we saw they made Craftopia, and that game was garbage, and they abandoned that, and then they made this because the meme trailer went off. It popped off, so they're like,
Yeah.
well, we better put more eggs in this basket. Now I've made a horrific amount of money. And they're probably just going to do the same thing again, but just with like another meme spin. And I hope they prove me wrong and they hire a bunch of people and put a load of money back into the industry, and hire all those people, give them money so a lot of people and their families can continue to live and work in the industry. But
That
I'm being cynical about it. I don't think they will. I think they'll just run with the money. Because
that
why
kind
would
of
you? They
ties
made 60
into
million.
yeah. I think that kind of ties into a conversation we've had on your podcast before, Sigma, about paying like underpaying developers and artists for I don't remember which podcast. I would have to go through your list and look for it, but we kind of had this discussion before about how you have people that truly want to perfect their craft in whatever medium they are in, and it's kind of crazy, like stuff like this, like kind of what JM said. He hopes that, okay, yeah, cool, it's a cash money grab, but I hope you do something with that money, like give it back to the people that need it, or pour it into people. Okay, if it's a cash money grab, you want to make more money, cool, make more money, but pour it into people that can really produce something that's artistic and also can make you money, because it is possible, obviously, to do both. Like, being a consumer in media, like it's possible to make money, but at the same time give these people who are so creative. Like, I'm not creative in any means, as far as like I like to write, but it's like factual writing. Like when it comes to anything artistic, I would say that I'm a consumer. I can't really create anything myself. So that's why I have a lot of respect for game developers and artists and people who create music. And I appreciate that medium, because whether people realize it or not, like that's like I couldn't live without music. Like I just could not simply live without music. I could live without TV. There's mediums that I could live without, but people create things for me to have some type of hobby or enjoyment out of working hard. So like I really do respect that, y'all, and your creativity. So I would have to agree with Jam. It's kind of like, if y'all are making that money, fine, but I hope you do something smart with that money and pour it back into people who can actually use it and perfect their crafts and feed their families and
And I
and
hope
have
they
some
do.
type of yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it would suck if they basically just run away with the money, right? But like after one success, I feel like people like that, especially like folks who are like, well, I had one idea then. Where's my next one? Like they get addicted to that sort of thing. So whether they become auteurs or not will remain to be seen. But I don't think is the last we'll hear of Pocket Pair, in all honesty.
No.
And I think like I think it can go for any type of like media. I would, and I hate to use it, well, I'll use that as an example, but I would say like the MCU is a really perfect example. Like when the MCU first came out, like each of those movies was done to like perfection. Truly, in my opinion, like each movie, I was always waiting for the next Marvel movie, because they put so much detail and care into these Marvel films. And then I don't know what happened after. I just it became so saturated, and it was just putting out products, like not really paying attention or not really putting any type of care like they did in the previous years for Marvel movies. Like it just became so oversaturated, and just it was like basically like just like a machine. Like, let's put out another Disney Plus show. Let's put out another Marvel movie, because we just got to keep the train going without really taking the time of you know, keeping that same, the term, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, I don't feel like they really had to like change anything going into phase 4. And I guess for me, I kind of use this as a comparison because it's just, it's not, I don't get the excitement that I used to get out of watching Marvel films anymore as a consumer. Like, it's just boring to me. It just seems like it's just all slapped together.
Yeah, I think they overscoped. Like
I agree.
they started doing a little too much all at once and like spread themselves a little thin in terms of like all their productions and budgets and storylines. So everything definitely ended up feeling a lot thinner across the board. But hopefully they regroup and get themselves back on track. But I do want to point out that we never actually talked about the Pokemon Company's response, which was the actual topic here.
Yeah.
So real quick, I'm just gonna read what that actual, or at least a piece of what that actual statement was.
I know what it was. See you in court. That's
But no, it was actually them saying that they've received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024. We've not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to the Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon and its world and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future. The Pokemon Company. I personally feel like this statement essentially says, stop messaging us about Palworld. And that's pretty much it.
I read it differently.
Okay, go ahead.
I read it as, yeah, we've known about this the whole time. Now that it's out, we have all the assets they're using, so we're checking. If we find one thing, they're fucked.
I feel like they would have, like, before this game got to market, I think they would have had a problem with it.
They need the direct proof. So I know it was proven as a hoax and the whole, like, somebody stretching.
Yeah, there was like
model,
a Twitter thread of someone saying that the models were like 1-to-1, and then that kind of got rebuked after the fact.
100%, yeah. That was a hoax, but I do believe Pokemon Company and just us as consumers, it is healthy for us to look into these things and see if there were any stolen things. Not saying there were, but it's good to look because it could have happened, and if they did, then there needs to be repercussions because that is stealing. Right?
Yeah,
all the assets they bought, and stuff like that, they paid for them. That's their property after they've bought it. But if they've stolen 3D models from Pokemon and then adjusted them to make them work in their new game, that is theft, and the Pokemon Company have a right to burn them to the ground.
That is true. Yeah.
And they will.
Like Nintendo, they put a man in jail for life.
Yeah, like
wait, what?
Yeah.
It was a kid who was selling like NES or SNES ROMs. Like he was hosting a website that just sold SNES ROMs. They sued him for millions of dollars, I think. Let me say it wasn't jail for life. Oh, he's paying a fine for life. Yes. Okay. So yeah.
Is this a federal case? I'm about to look it. I'm about to look it up.
It's like, I don't know if this is American even, but whoever owned that site basically got sued into oblivion, and like they'll be paying off a debt probably for as long as they're alive.
If they find something,
Gary Bowser, yes, weirdly enough, that was his name.
If they find something on
and like he
Palworld,
says, it's an Australian case. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jay.
If they find something on Palworld, they will obliterate them. They will destroy them.
Yeah, I believe it.
Game Freak and Nintendo have the money and the lawyers to destroy, Palworld if they wanted. And they need to find evidence that is irrefutable. Like, you definitely stole this from us.
Yeah.
Not just like somebody posted in the Second Wind chat the other day, which was like a comparison between Digimon, Pokemon, and Dragon Quest mobs, and they were all extremely similar. And like Pokemon clearly copied some Dragon Quest creatures and stuff like that, and just did their own spin on them. So it's not the fact that they look similar and they're inspired heavily by them. Like,
that's not.
I don't think they
that's
ever
not a
to stand on there.
suable.
No, it's like, oh, you took our Rayquaza model and just changed its antlers. You're done for.
Yeah.
Like, we can prove that, and it's just whether they did. And if they did, I don't think they would have, because that would have been incredibly dumb.
Yeah,
But then again,
and
you
I
know,
honestly don't think, and this is wild speculation. Like I don't know anything. Like I don't think that is something that they would have done if they wanted to make money in this business, because the
they
guy,
knew they'd be coming for them. So
right? Yeah, like you
why
would
would
have to
you?
be wary of that sort of thing. Like it would,
Yeah,
and like it's not a secret how litigious Nintendo is.
exactly.
Yeah, go
So
ahead, Kat.
sorry.
You found
So
something?
he did serve prison time. He served 3 years. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison for his role in the Nintendo Switch hack selling scheme, but he will have to still pay a portion of whatever income he made. $10 million settlement with the company. He was 53. He was let out of federal prison in Seattle because of his early age. So it was actually here in the States.
Okay,
Um,
this might be a
he was
different thing then.
Might be
So
a different
yeah,
one.
so
Gary
another.
Gary Bowser, is
No,
that his
okay,
name?
yeah, that's what they brought up.
Yeah. Yeah. He will return to Toronto area, but Bowser noted that his plea agreement calls for him to pay Nintendo $10 million in restitution. This agreement will take between 25 to 30% of his monthly gross income. He's gonna die paying them.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Unless he wins the lottery and can just pay them off. Yeah, but it looks like it. I'm about to look this up when I get to work. Sorry. Uh,
This
Yes. But
Well,
yeah,
like,
like that's
he went
crazy.
to prison 4 years and is still on the hook
yeah,
for
yeah.
Nintendo. So like they don't
It's-
play around.
And I don't think the devs would have done it because, like you said, you would be aware of it. You would know that Nintendo would be coming for you, so you wouldn't dare steal models.
Yeah,
and
especially if
there's
they
some-
want to
yeah.
make money, right? Like
Exactly. And there's this narrative that the devs themselves are pushing that none of them knew what they were doing and they were all brand new and all of this, which is absolute horseshit. It's a lie, and they should be held accountable for that, because you cannot make a thing like this without, education and, the knowledge base. And people might be thinking, oh, well, because they didn't know what they're doing, maybe they were stealing models and, just trying to get them in and slightly changing them. No, they weren't. They
And I'm-
they made all those models. Like those models have been handcrafted, and like the animations.
yeah, like the animations is a big point of contention, because one of my biggest gripes with Nintendo's Pokemon series, especially since they moved to 3D, is how few of their Pokemon actually have any animation whatsoever.
Because none of the people at Game Freak know what they're doing. They make 2D games, and
Right.
then the head of Game Freak came in and said, "You're making 3D now," and they went, "What? We don't know how to do that." And they went, "Good luck."
Yeah, they will literally pick up the entire 3D model like it's a doll, and then like kick the feet at the
Yeah, it goes
enemy
like,
and then put it back down. Like this is like
Yeah,
Palworld
it's
Palworld has actual animations between those creatures. So like you cannot tell me that one that they just ripped
Yeah,
something
they've
from
stolen
that
that,
game.
or like the devs have no idea what they're doing.
Right.
Like, it's baffling. So I don't think Nintendo will find anything. But if they do, if the devs were dumb enough, and maybe this whole thing of them being plucky little silly devs is true, and I'm wrong, and they did steal some things. Then if that's true, they are giga fuck. They're just done for, like, because Nintendo will turn them to dust. Because also they're a Japanese studio, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're a Japanese studio, and their copyright law is very different over there. So they will destroy them.
Yeah, it's a massive risk to play that particular game, and this company was in the business from the start of making money. So like you don't want that sort of like liability. Nick the OG says, the models are made using different methods in the mesh style. I don't know the right terms, but they definitely were looking at the Pokemon when they made their own models.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Which, yeah, like Jay is saying, like that in and of itself isn't stealing.
Isn't
like
enough.
that classifies as basically like inspiration or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like cereal. You have you have Lucky Charms, and then you have the Walmart version of Medios. Like that it's Lucky Charms.
Right.
It's just they changed like maybe a couple cups of sugar and some other preservatives and slap Medios on it, and it's a completely different product.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. It is an off-brand thing, which the main brand can't do anything about. Like
It's not
like a
it's not
cheap
purple
copycat.
soda. It's not grape soda. It's purple drink. Like
Exactly. But yeah, any lingering thoughts about this particular issue or any other issues that we brought up that you guys want to chime in before we head out?
If you like Palworld, good on you. Enjoy yourself.
Rage
take
Against the
any of-
Machine.
Yeah, don't take any of my cynicism as a mark against my thoughts on you as a person. You know, a lot of people, like you think about fandoms, like people to think if you say bad on a thing they like, they're insulting you, and that's just not how it works.
Yeah, that's not the case. Like, Palworld is what it is. Whether you like to play it or not is not a blight on your character. It's just how you're spending your time that evening.
You don't like it, don't consume it. Simple as that.
Yeah, easy as that. All right, then. Thanks, everybody, so much. All you folks in chat, been great. Jay, where can folks find you on the internet, and what do you have coming up that they can check out?
Second Wind. That is my life. So check me out on Second Wind. I'll be on streams. I'll be on my own show, I guess. Yeah, Design Delve coming out this Friday. New episode on Was Blighttown a Mistake? It's probably the longest video I've done. And the most heavily animated. It's got like 55 animations in the entire thing, which is nuts. That's nearly as many as we get in Adventurous Night. So
damn.
In my 15-minute video. But yeah, check me out there. Stay tuned. Good things coming.
Nice. Yokina Cat, how about you? Where can folks find you? What do you have coming up, if anything?
They can find me on Twitter, Instagram. My handle is the same. It's just Yokina Cat. I really won't be doing anything. I'm considering maybe getting a PS5. I don't know. Like, I feel like I should.
I mean, it is crossplay. Do you have a PC that can run it?
I do not know.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Sad face, extra frown. So you can catch me on Twitter, Instagram. I'm just on there. I really do want to start getting into it because I do want to start competing in Tekken 8. So, get off on the ground floor, kind of thing.
I'll be interested in seeing your run once you do get on there.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I really think there's a couple. I have to look at the way that it works in Tekken tournaments is you register. I am registered with the Bandai esport website. You'll see my name. It just says 0 because I haven't done anything. But you compete through like in-person like tournaments. They're called dojos. So like you go compete and you rack up points. And then that way, depending on your placing in your points, that's how you qualify for certain tournaments. So I'm still new to it. I think the nearest one to me, I think, is in Dallas. So I just have to kind of look that up, and I'll keep you all posted in the Discord
let us know
about that stuff. So yeah, that's if you just want to pop by and drop a meme or a GIF and say hello. I'm on all, I guess, social media platforms.
Nice. George Lucas asking about me and Tekken 8. Bandai Namco was late giving us code, so we don't have anything planned in terms of content for it right now. But I do have code.
Are you gonna play?
I do want to put some time into it because I'm curious about all the features around Tekken 8 and what that means for like just fighting games in general. So maybe down the road I'll have something about that after I put some time in.
From what I'm seeing, like the reviews, all the gaming like websites and stuff, like it's 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. I guess one magazine, it's like their rating scale was like 20, so they got like a 19 out of 20. Like I've seen nothing but good reviews.
Yeah, folks
People
are enjoying it.
They're saying it's like, and I'm not being biased or anything, but people are actually are like enjoying it over Street Fighter 6.
That's
okay.
Yeah. I gotta get my hands on it now.
Yeah, some people are really enjoying.
I know that's not true already.
It's okay. Me personally, I think Street Fighter 6 looks great, but from the people that I haven't played Street Fighter 6, so I can't give you my own opinion. But from, I guess, some of the people that have played Street Fighter 6, they like Tekken, and then Mortal Kombat 1 is nowhere in the conversation. So
Mortal Kombat 1 was kind of
it was horrible, but I digress. Okay.
But on that note, you guys can find me on the internet at Sigma Gears 9. Later today, I'll be joined by Superman Jeff over on the Open Party channel for Super Smash Sunday. Outside of that, you can find me as well on Second Wind, weekly streams, got more bite-sized video essays on the way down the road. Like I'm working on some scripts and video, as well as some other behind-the-scenes projects. So just keep yourselves glued over there, and you'll see our work pop up all over the place. I want to thank Jay and Kat for joining me this week. You guys are great. Always happy to have you. We'll see you all in the future, I guess. This has been episode 128. Peace, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.